The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. Cade Cunningham, 29 points, 15 assists, 10 rebounds. Detroit, a wire-to-wire win, even though the Knicks on this play got within 2 after being down in the third quarter by 17. Detroit, though, pulled away down the stretch. They end their 16-game losing streak to the Knicks that had been the longest losing streak for one team against another in the whole league. 120-111 is the final. Great to have you with us. Bill Pidto along with Wally Szczerbiak. So, Wally, the Knicks really missed Karl Anthony Towns on the boards.
Yep.
They were outboarded by 12. That's tied for the biggest differential they've had against on the boards. They were down by 16 after the first quarter, got to within 4 in the second quarter, and then they were down by 17 in the third quarter. And as I mentioned, they cut it to 2 early in the fourth quarter, but they could never get the lead.
Listen, the fight, the energy, the will was there. But this Detroit Pistons team, they came out, saw Towns was not in the lineup, and they had the belief that they could break that 16-game losing streak against the Knicks. In that first quarter, they executed on a mission. They were the more aggressive team, 39-23 in the first quarter. That's setting the tone, how you steal a victory on the road, and you got to give them a lot of credit. This is a young team that has been the laughingstock of the NBA for the last few years. They're sending a message to everyone in the NBA that they're trying to get back to prominence, and they're becoming a really relevant basketball team led by Cade Cunningham. Triple-double, a big-time triple-double. He was in control of this game the whole entire night.
This is the Pistons' 10th win of the year. Last year, for the whole year, they won only 14 games. Third quarter, Knicks down 17, closed with a flurry, and it looked like they were going to be able to maybe come back in the fourth quarter. They just could not get over the hump.
Well, I remember, whenever a team made a run against us, our coaches would always say, they made their run, now we make ours. And the Knicks expended so much energy and emotion in this building to get back into the game that's when the Detroit Pistons just kind of kicked it into gear. That was a crazy play by Precious Achiuwa. And then how about OG Anunoby sneaking in there to get that put-back dunk? This is when the Knicks were just absolutely rolling in that third quarter, and you felt like they completely stole the momentum and got the momentum. But the problem is Cade Cunningham was not going to let his team lose this game. I mean, look at the effort, the multiple efforts that Tom Thibodeau talks about. It was all over the court for the Knicks. It really was. They got after this Pistons team in that third quarter defensively. That led to some electric plays in transition. Huck Porty with that nasty throwdown. But then in the fourth quarter, it seemed like the Knicks ran out of gas a little bit. And Cade Cunningham just took his time. That's an impressive shot over a long athletic defender in Mikal Bridges. But he just has that good size that Tom Thibodeau referred to.
6'6" Cunningham.
Yes.
That's a big factor.
That's a big factor because he can see over the defense. Look at the way he sees over the defense. Jalen Duren is a rim runner and an outstanding finisher. I thought that was a big shot. It was like a 4-point game at that point. Fontecchio knocks down that big three, extends it to 7, and that kind of took the air out of the building, and then they continued to run pick and roll. The Knicks have struggled with high pick and roll, controlling big men that are rolling to the basket. How about that guy, Malik Beasley? Boy, can he shoot the basketball.
7
for 10 from 3, lights out, and the Pistons were really good from 3 at 18-36.
All right, I mentioned the rebounding differential, 43-31 in favor of the Pistons. Also of note, the free throw shooting. The Knicks came into this game while the top free throw shooting team in the whole league. They go only 16 of 27 from the line. Every single Detroit starter was in double figures, and the Pistons are able to survive 122-111. How much did the Knicks miss Karl Anthony Towns? I mentioned, obviously, on the boards because he's the second highest rebounder in the whole league. What about in terms of the overall flow of the game?
Well, this Detroit team, they don't have a ton of size. Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, they're very active, mobile big men, but they're not legitimate 7-footers. That's a big difference that Karl Anthony Towns brings, just that size that you can't teach. And the other thing, he swallows up 15 rebounds a game just by being big and being aggressive and pursuing the basketball. And, there weren't a lot of rebounds out there to be had because the Pistons were shooting so well. So you got to understand, the Knicks got out-rebounded because the Pistons didn't miss very many shots, and the Knicks missed a lot of shots. So that's why the defensive rebounds are going to go most of the time to the Pistons. But listen, Towns is a big part of this team. And I thought Bridges and Anunoby without Towns in the lineup. You knew Brunson was going to go for 30 and he was going to go off. But I thought it was important that Bridges and Anunoby had good shooting nights, and they were a little bit off with their shooting tonight, and it's going to be tough to pull off a win without Towns in the lineup.
In the pregame, we talked about Cade Cunningham. You see him up close. Looks like he's taken a step forward into the upper echelon of talent in this league. He was spectacular tonight.
Yeah, he really was. And I loved his composure. That's the biggest thing. Anytime the Knicks were making a run, he made key, timely shots for his team. 15 assists, too. I mean, he is just so smooth. He's never in a rush. That's the big thing. Look at the way he's evaluating what the defense is doing. He's always reading the defense, and he's playing off what his defender's doing and how they're defending them as a team. And that's what the great players do. The great players play the game in slow motion. They never get sped up. They just play it at their pace. And he's getting to the point where he's an all-star in the making. He's playing like an all-star this year if he continues to play like this.
All right, well, let's now bring in Monica McNutt, help call the game on ESPN New York, the radio call. Monica, when you look at the box score, it seems when the Knicks have lost this year for the most part, it's been mainly or at least in part to their inability to defend the three. Pistons went 18 of 36 from downtown tonight.
Yeah, they were lights out. That's definitely a theme in losses, Pidto. But I also have in front of me a first quarter only box score, because when we talk about things that have been thematic, slow starts. I mean, this team was down by 16 to start or to end that first quarter. They had 6 turnovers. They were fortunate that at that point the Pistons had only capitalized with 7 points, but a lot of the differences that you saw at the end of the first quarter continued through the ball game, including the points in the paint margin, and the fast break points in particular were something that the Pistons were able to really find life in.
Monica, everyone's been asking me and everyone else about Cade Cunningham being an all-star. What do you think? This guy looks like an all-star to me.
You know, every time the Knicks made a push, Wally, they got it to 4. I think the closest they got it was 2. Whether it was Cade or someone else on this team, I thought the Pistons demonstrated a level of poise that you have not seen. They, to me, looks like the veteran team in this matchup. And literally, if you tell me Cade Cunningham's going to have a triple-double, that's a nightmare. That means not only has he gotten to every spot that he wanted to in terms of scoring, he's also picked apart your defense with his assist. That is problematic. He certainly did look like an all-star.
We talked about, Wally and I, the absence of Karl Anthony Towns. What's your take on the impact that had on tonight's outcome?
Nobody on that team is going to make that excuse. It's certainly an impact, don't get me wrong. You think about the monster performance that he had when these two teams met in Detroit. It is absolutely a difference maker. And even if he doesn't necessarily have the double-double that he's averaging, when you think of both Karl Anthony Towns and Cameron Payne from just a rotation standpoint, every time the Knicks made a push to get that thing to 1 or 2 possessions, they then sort of ran out of gas in terms of being able to sustain that momentum. And so I just thought about the minutes that were altered when you missed those 2 guys, in addition to the productivity as far as scoring, Pidto.
Monica, how cool was it to have all the alumni in the building? What does it say about the Knicks franchise that all the old players come back and just love supporting this team?
You know, when we do radio, Wally, sometimes at halftime, that's your opportunity to run around, take care of whatever you need to do at halftime because you're sitting at the booth through the course of the game. But both Tyler and I stayed up in our spots tonight and watched. We took pictures. We kind of really enjoyed it, the celebration. Generations of Knicks basketball represented tonight. It was really, really cool to see. I know, and I'm sure, Wally, you can attest to this, there's nothing quite like being in a locker room once you walk away. And so to have different generations of guys that weren't necessarily in the same locker rooms but were a part of the same franchise, I know that is truly a very strong bond that ties them all together. It was really special to witness.
All right, Monica, as always, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you on Monday. Homecoming game tonight, presented by Dash Pass. And you mentioned talking to Monica how special it was for you guys, special for all of us to see all these guys. And really enjoyed Alan's interview with Jerry Lucas. I mean, the guy's 84 and he's still as sharp as a tack, you know.
It's impressive. It was generations upon generations of great Knicks in the crowd. You could feel there was a little bit of extra oomph and energy. I thought the Knicks as a team, they really wanted to get this win for the alums. Just came up a little bit short. You got to give that Pistons team a ton of credit.
All right, Wally, so no Karl Anthony Towns. Jericho Sims got the start, played only 6 minutes. Ariel Hukporti got time because of Cat being out, and Hukporti again. We mentioned this. When he plays, he stands out. 9 points. He was very effective tonight.
He was very effective. His energy is always there. I thought he did a great job of running that high pick and roll and rim running. That's what he does. And, you know, he's going to have to continue to learn. He gets opportunities to get out there on the floor. He soaks up how to be an NBA player and an impact NBA player. And, you love his work ethic. I think the Knicks have found a guy, late in the draft that, has a chance to be very meaningful in a rotation. And that's a really good thing because we've questioned the bench a lot. Where are the Knicks going to get production off the bench? But this coaching staff always finds guys and makes them productive when they get minutes out there. And I thought Huck Porty was very effective out there. He was going up against some very mobile, athletic big men in the Detroit Pistons, what they have. So it was a really good matchup for him. So he's just got to continue to learn, continue to watch film, continue to develop, and soak in, learning type times from Karl Anthony Towns and company and this coaching staff.
Porty, by the way, 4 of 4 from the floor, and also off the bench. Precious Achiuwa, second game of the year, played well with 10 rebounds. All right, around the corner, we're going to listen in to the post-game comments from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau. The Knicks are now 14-9. Also ahead, the MSG 150. Stay with us, everybody.
The Knicks post-game show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Welcome back, everyone. The Pistons beat the Knicks 120-111. The Knicks' 6-game winning streak at home is over. Back now from the Corner 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. Next up for the Knicks, they're going to be at Toronto on Monday night. Pre-game here at 7, game at 7:30. Then on Wednesday, the Knicks are back home to take on the Hawks. It's the quarterfinals of the Emirates NBA Cup. If the Knicks win that game, they go to Las Vegas for the semifinals of the tournament next Saturday. Time now to listen into the post-game comments from Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau, as always, presented by Chase.
Yeah, the way we started the game, they got going offensively, and we weren't into the ball, didn't challenge shots, got in a big hole early, and then played from behind. Well, yeah, and I think when you're shorthanded, your margin of error is a lot tighter. You got to play with great intensity on every possession, and if you do that, you have a good chance to win. You're not going to replace Cat individually, and Cam, but collectively we can. We can play great defense. We can rebound the ball as a team, and that's what you have to do. You're not going to rely on one guy to, get you 13 rebounds but collectively we can do it. And that's where we have to be better. We have to learn from it. I knew they're a good offensive team. They're athletic. They're quick. Cunningham got going. And then, they get out of their screens quick. They put pressure on the rim. So it starts with your ball pressure. It starts with your bigs being in the proper position, your shell being tight, rotating cleanly, then finishing. You have to finish your defense. You have to challenge shots, and you have to get the bodies. And so we out-rebounded by 12, so down 16, second quarter better, third quarter better. But it was too big of a hole to fight out of, so we got to learn from it.
You mentioned bigs being in the right position, no Cat. What do you see from Jericho, Ario, and Frank?
Yeah, we were just searching. We wanted energy. You have to hustle. You have Cunningham and Ivy, very dynamic off the dribble. And then, the shooting of, Beasley's been shooting the ball really well for them, and Hardaway spreads you out as well. And so anytime you put two on the ball, you got to protect the rim, but you have to rotate cleanly to challenge shots. And then you have to evaluate, whether, the trap is being done with the proper intensity. And then our hands in the right position, and are we moving on the flight of the ball, and are we in their airspace on the catch, and are we challenging the shot with urgency, and then are we getting back to bodies, right? And so if you shortcut any part of that, and that requires, that requires you flying around, and everyone flying around together. Everyone's got to know what the next guy's doing. So normally we're pretty good at that. We weren't tonight. And, we got to fix it quickly and get ready for the next game.
Uniquely poor shooting, free throw shooting from the team tonight, which hasn't really happened all season. I know we talk about missed shots, can bleed over to defense. Can free throws, when you miss that many?
Yeah, and as you mentioned, I think we were first in the league, so we didn't shoot them well tonight, and have to get back to it.
How close was
you know, he went through his routine, medical, and said he couldn't go, and so I haven't talked to him yet.
Jalen's effort tonight obviously really important, but just how more impressive was it considering he was questionable going into the game?
Yeah, he's, you know, he gives you everything he has. It's, you know, and you know, you're disappointed in the loss, but I'm not disappointed in our team. You know, I want us to learn. I want us to get better. And we have to respond the right way to this.
Jalen's obviously such a big part of this team, but when you're not shooting well, especially early on, how crucial were those first couple baskets for him maybe to give other guys confidence that, you know, once one starts to go and they are?
Yeah, and I think the thing that probably got us going is once, you know, when our ball pressure picked up and we caused some turnovers and we got into the open floor, we got some easy baskets, then we got a pretty good rhythm. And, you know, as I said, you know, we still, you know, we had 27 assists, we shot a good percentage, and if we had rebounded the ball, we probably could have won the game, you know, and so that's, you know, that's what we have to learn from. You know, we got it down to 4 going into the fourth, and then we needed to make a couple stops there, and we didn't.
Coach, I know you're focused on the game tonight, but it was also homecoming. Did you get a chance to connect with some
Yeah,
players that you used to coach and many others?
Yeah, it's great, and I think the organization, you know, Jim Dolan obviously has made a big-time commitment, and I think Leon and Wes deserve a lot of credit for, like, the time that they've put into making this happen. And it's just great to see all those guys and what they mean to each other and what they mean to our city and the organization and how they're all connected. And I think, you know, the backbone of every organization are all the players, you know, the former players, current players, and I think it's cool for our players to see, and for the entire league. It's great, and just to hear them share their stories and stuff, very, very nice. I'm disappointed that we couldn't win for them tonight.
When we are finished up after the postgame show, MSG Shorts presents Game Ready. Monica McNutt with Josh, with Larry Johnson and John Starks.
This is Game Ready, delivered with DoorDash, featuring Knicks alum Larry Johnson and John Starks. I have to say, y'all, this was one of my favorite parts of the run last year. Just the joy happening in this row. What you thinking about as you watch this, LJ? Where are you? You sitting down?
Yeah, I'm eating popcorn.
There you go.
I'm stuffing my face.
You're trying to be cool.
Hey, telling him, get out my way. Look. Hey, you dad. Hey, you dad.
All right, so that's coming up after the postgame show. And you see how much these guys care, Wally, with what we saw tonight. Starks there, LJ there, all of the rest of the Knicks there on homecoming game night here, presented by Dash Pass. It's a really special environment tonight.
It is. It shows the pulse of the franchise. It shows how much it's an honor to have played for the New York Knicks. It's one of the greatest franchises in all of sports, and the players just really appreciate getting invited back, being able to feel a part of that team again and this team. And, you know, when you retire as a player, it's lonely sometimes. Like, you miss being in a locker room, you miss being a part of a team again, and when you get a chance to see a lot of old faces and old teammates, it means a lot. So nights like this are pretty cool.
Everyone has to be impressed, all the old Knicks, watching OG Anunoby joining Patrick Ewing as the only 2 Knicks to have 4 steals and 2 blocks in back-to-back games. He did it again.
That's impressive. He was all over the passing lanes. His defense was really, really good. His ability to, you know, just not give up on plays. That's the big thing Tom Thibodeau loves about all his efforts. And, you know, he's adding to that dunk total, just continuing to find those points around the rim. That's just hustle plays all over the place. And, you know, the effort was there. Tom Thibodeau said it in his press conference. He said the guys played their hearts out. The guys left it all out there on the floor. They just have to kind of just play a little bit smarter, clean up a few things in order to beat a team like Detroit, who's playing really high, at a high level of basketball. So, you know, OG Anunoby has been playing outstanding, and he's got to just keep it up.
All right, he's just amazing to watch on the defensive end of the floor. Josh Hart tonight figured into the box score as always with 17 points, but he was thrown out late in the game. His reaction is coming up. Monday night, the Knicks are in Toronto to take on the Raptors. Pre-game at 7, game at 7:30. You can also stream our coverage on the Gotham Sports app. Knicks lose tonight to the Pistons by 9. Here's Alan Hahn after the game with Josh Hart.
Josh, felt like you guys chased the scoreboard from tip-off. What was going on in that first quarter?
Yeah, we lacked energy in that first quarter. Didn't come out aggressive, physical, not great attention to detail. So we just got to be better. There's been a couple of lulls in the first quarter that we gotta fix. We can't always try to dig ourselves out of a hole.
How much did this team miss Cat?
For sure we missed him. Obviously his physicality, his passing, his shot making. We missed the game with his ability to speed up the game. Miss those guys was tough, but he had more than enough.
What wasn't happening that needed to happen against Cade to try to slow him down?
I think we just kind of let him get going. There was one possession where I didn't get into the ball, enough. I got a screen, he got an open three, and when you let guys get going early, it's tough. We can't rely on, our two main guys just to take that, those assignments. They did a heck of a job today, and when they weren't off of them, we struggled.
All right, so the Knicks lose to Detroit 120-111. We are back to wrap up the postgame show right after this. Okay, so here's what's ahead. The Knicks are at Toronto Monday, pregame at 7, game at 7:30. Knicks back home to take on the Hawks Wednesday. That's the quarterfinals of the Emirates NBA Cup. What happens on Wednesday will determine the Knicks' schedule between then and the 19th. The Knicks win, they're going to Vegas for a semifinal game on Saturday, but they got to beat the Hawks to do that. So we'll see you Monday. First things first, Knicks in Toronto, pregame at 7, game at 7:30. You can stream our coverage on MSG Plus, now on the Gotham Sports app.